Back to today's broadcast. In fact, don't skip any part of the video. Make sure you watch it to the end so for you to understand what is going on in Nigeria right now. To the extent that the Nigerian media, they are now start broadcasting that Nigeria is about to divide. The issue of splitting of Nigeria is now coming directly from the US, and the way they are discussing about the division of the country, it is so high, and the other thing is coming from the Nigerian media. You know, before any press or any media from the live stream media start discussing about debating about the division of Nigeria, know that it has gone to the extent that nobody can hide it anymore. And then this time it is now coming directly from the Nigerian media. It is no more the issue of a rumor or who is the person that is talking or the people that is claiming. In fact, a lot is going on in Nigeria, and all the reason is because of this issue of insecurity, issue of Mazem Nikano, and the issue of corrupt country we are living into, the way everything is going on. And then nobody that is even thinking rightly will tell you that Nigeria will remain as one. And as you can see, Tinubu may be the last president of Nigeria. Tinubu may be the last president of Nigeria, and that is why you see coalition everywhere, division everywhere, and then a lot of things. Just listen, because the issue concerning Nigeria and the US, the way they are talking about it, both in their Congress House, both in Washington, both everywhere, the way they are discussing about the issue of Nigeria, it is a way to tell you that something serious is happening. Something serious is happening on the ground, but they are not telling you. Mostly the issue of Islamization. And if you think about all those things, you'll be asking yourself, why all those things happening now? Why? The issue of Islamization, the issue of bandits, and the issue of division. There is no time Nigeria is being divided the way it is divided today. No time. Even at the time where they are fighting war, then Nigeria is still in unity then, but today Nigeria is being divided more than ever before, and the other thing is happening right now in Tinubu regime. If I'm just watch by yourself, mostly the issue of America, where they are discussing about the division of this country. Watch and for you to see by yourself things going on in Nigeria. I was about to watch, like, subscribe, and share it for everyone to see things happening in the country.
Nigeria may split. I mean, these are dangerous statements to make about a country that's not yours.
These are dangerous statements. It's not today the Americans make statements like that. We don't support it. I don't support the splitting of this country. I'm a big believer in one Nigeria. But the question is, with one Nigeria, what's the proposition? Let's have the conversation. A proposition where people are being killed based on their tribe, a proposition where there's genocide happening, a lot of Christians are being killed. I know people like to frame the argument and say, oh, they are bandit activities, they are this and all of that. But in areas of Benue, it's actually a genocide because they are killed specifically because they're Christians. So there's an intent issue. Although the other part will also say, oh, they were reprisals, they also killed us in return and all of that. But there's a genocide going on, which we cannot deny. So the question is, the proposition for one Nigeria has to be built on justice, a clear sense of equity, and a clear sense of fairness. But when you don't have that, people will feel disgruntled. And that's why people will say all sorts of things and talk about splitting and everything. Because heck yeah, it is a miracle that the country is still surviving. Because of the level of unfairness. So, for instance, look at the argument being made by a general. I think the general should have played down this argument of rehabilitation because it doesn't work. Despite how many peace deals we've had with the bandits, have they not gone back to hurt those people in the society? If you're making the argument and you're calling the Bible, what would you tell the father of those boys in Borno that died, 4 of them in that bomb attack, when they were just going to break their fast? What would you tell them? So you have to be able to also balance this argument out by saying, what about the plight of the people? If somebody kills, the law has a procedure for what should be done to that person. You do not have a right to tell us, oh, they are repentant, they killed. So what about the people they killed? They don't deserve justice? With rehabilitation programs, we have to be careful because it has not collectively worked in the end. They should bring out this 20,000 people that they said they have rehabilitated and see how many of the percentage have gone back to the crimes. Is it all of them that are doing the vocational job they fought for them for? We cannot do this to ourselves.
Where are the jobs?
So that's why we call on the state to be able to ensure that it has the right and the monopoly of violence against these people in the first place, beats them to a certain extent, and those that have found worthy, justice must be done. You can't say people that kill people, criminals that kill people, that slaughter people, and then the next thing you say, oh, the Bible said.
He's quoting the prodigal son, Luke chapter 15, verses 11 to 32. Now the prodigal son collected his inheritance, he squandered it, and he came back to his father to ask for forgiveness. And then the evening ended with celebration. The prodigal son being referred to is not a criminal. He's just a child who wasted his own inheritance. In this instance, we're talking about criminals. And General Oluyede, who has spent his entire life as a soldier, fighting criminals trying to subvert the sovereignty of Nigeria, ought to know that. If he doesn't know his Bible, he should go and take it and read it again. Sections that he doesn't understand, if he's a Christian and he has a pastor, let him seek further education. The second part of it, however, is that yesterday we discussed this same subject. We say that Nigeria does not even have the capacity to rehabilitate anybody. I think someone has also famously said in this country that there's no such thing as a repentant terrorist or bandit. These are people who kill. These are people who rob people of their future. These are people who cause, sorrow for families. These are people who subvert the entire country. And then you say, if they say they are repentant, they should be taken back. I think the general was perhaps more interested in the budget. Because he said, if you are asking us to do Operation Safe Corridor, we are ready, but the money is not there in the budget for 2026. And the one lawmaker who was there, he said, we will come back to you with proposal. No, this should not be about money. This should be about the security agencies discharging their responsibilities under the Constitution. The last time they tried Operation Safe Corridor, they even arranged wives for terrorists in one state, thinking that if they are domesticated, but they went back. Yeah. Some of them were even absorbed into the military, we were told. What did Nigeria achieve as a result of that?
But silence as a group on the renewed agitation for the sovereign state of Biafra, majorly by Igbo traders and youths, particularly in Igbo land, was very deliberate. We decided not to be hasty so that our pronouncement as a group will be backed with facts and figures that will be difficult for anyone to dispute. Historical facts. The late Chief Odumegwu Ojukwu Ikemba Nnewi once described the Biafran struggle as no longer a physical thing, but a struggle of the mind, a mind thing. You will also recall that while Ojukwu was alive, one Ralph Owazurike started agitating for a sovereign state of Biafra with his group known as Masop. The Ikemba never paid any attention to them, but admonished that it was no longer by physical combat, but with a mindset that yearns for justice and equity. Government's response to Masop's agitation was oftentimes severe, and a case in point was the massive killing of some of the agitators who were later dumped in a river in Anambra State some times ago. This took place under the last dispensation, and up to today, the date and how they occurred remains a mystery. During the build-up to the election of 2015, Mazov, that was clamoring for a sovereign state of Biafra, became interested in Nigerian politics and even issued threats that unless Professor Atahiru Jega, the then INEC chairman, is removed, they will burn down Nigeria. That was an unpardonable blunder, as they portray themselves as an unserious group of men and women who were approbating and reprobating at the same time. Designing minds got the message clearly that this fight by these men and women was not about the Igbo cause, but about selfish and personal interest. In short, it is about bread and butter. What is now unfolding is the resurgence and renewed agitation by a new group known as the indigenous people of Biafra, led by a young man living in faraway London. His name is Nnamdi Kanu. His modus operandi is through a radio medium known as Radio Biafra, where it is alleged that he spews out hate speeches and engages in name-calling and abuses of all personalities, including Nigerian state. He uses social media a lot to propagate his agenda. And to be sincere, he seems to have mobilized a large followership who consists of the youths, traders, and even some educated elites. The majority of them neither saw nor experienced the 1967 to 70 war in Nigeria. At best, they read the story as history or social studies. The intrigues, the mistakes, the avoidance, the connivance, the betrayals, the wisdom, the foolishness of that war cannot be as real to them as to those who were witnesses to it. So what we are seeing presently is a group of young men and women who are trained to sing "Let My People Go" song all over the southeast region, demanding that people should pull out of the Nigerian state as their economic survival, safety, equity, justice cannot be guaranteed under the present arrangement in the Nigerian state. This is as hollow as it is defeatist and is born out of the most blood-curdling political scam ever visited on Igbo. We have taken time to engage in this lengthy historical voyage to lay a solid foundation for our comments and solutions below, which we believe will nip this brewing crisis in the bud once and for all. Let it be noted, the Nigerian state as it is today has the imprint of the Igbos, be it in the foundational struggle for independence and nationalism. No one can deny the individual contributions of the great Zik of Africa and a rich swath of Igbos. While there are good grounds to dismiss the demonstrations as part of the legendary propensity of the Nigerian people for drama, it has become important to make a clear statement on this development because of the obvious implications for the Igbo. The reluctance of respected Igbo men and women across the nation and beyond to speak on the agitation because they consider it infamous to spend precious time on it has enabled a handful of charlatans and politicians working in cahoots with the demonstrators to seek to create the impression that a majority of Igbo people are in solidarity with the agitators. Let us state the obvious. Neither Nnamdi Kanu nor his followers have the mandate of the Igbo people. They were never elected. To the best of our knowledge, they did not consult the Igbo on the agitation for Biafra, which led to Mr. Kanu's arrest and detention on suspicion of threat of terrorism, kidnapping, ethnic and religious incitement, and waging of war against the people and government of Nigeria. One of the most prominent of the politicians did tell journalists on January 15, 2015, that Nigeria would break up if Dr. Goodluck Jonathan was not re-elected as Nigerian's president, adding for effect that the legal instrument which brought the country into existence had expired. It is not sheer coincidence that none of the prominent supporters of the indigenous people of Biafra was in Biafra during the 30-month civil war, whose consequences are still there for everyone to see. They have no first-hand experience of what it means to go through war. Therefore, it is understandable that they have developed a penchant for beating the war drum at the drop of a hat, which they erroneously assume will get the new federal administration to make concessions to them. While dutifully beating the war drum, they have carefully ensured that none of their relatives or family members participate in the demonstrations. The demonstrations have so far been largely peaceful, but but no one can guarantee how long they could remain so, because youngsters do not always act peacefully when they're in large groups, as evident when university students go on protests. We deplore the spirited attempt by some people to distort Nigerian's history as it affects eminent Igbo elements. We deplore in particular the attempt to cast Chief Emeka Ojukwu in the image of a poster child of Nigerians' disunity. True, Chief Ojukwu did lead the Biafran war, but he was never a pathological rebel. In fact, Ojukwu was a pan-Nigerian, true, and did state many times that the Biafra rebellion was forced upon him by historical circumstances. Most history books consider him a reluctant rebel. Ojukwu was a public servant in Eastern Nigeria in the late 1950s. But as Nigeria's independence began to approach, he was worried about the increasing regionalization of the nation's affairs. Consequently, he joined the Nigerian army, which he considered the most national of all existing institutions then. With the Civil War over, Ojukwu returned to his pan-Nigerian activities. When he decided to participate in party politics for the first time in 1982, shortly after returning from a 13-year exile in Cote d'Ivoire, he deliberately chose the ruling National Party of Nigeria, NPN, which he believed was the most national of all political parties in the Second Republic. He even sought to serve his people at the national level through membership of the Nigerian Senate. He made it crystal clear that his sole motivation was to complete the process of reintegrating the Igbo into the mainstream of Nigerian politics. After supporting such Nigerians as Dr. Olusola Saraki and Alhaji Bashir Tofa, as well as Chief Olufalaye, to become Nigerian's president at different times, Chief Ojukwu presented himself for election as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2003 on the platform of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. Meanwhile, Chief Ojukwu spent years campaigning for what he called a handshake across the Niger. By this expression, he meant that all ethnic groups, beginning with his Igbo people, must find ways to live together in greater peace and harmony as one people, so that the black people could take pride of place in global affairs. Against this background, it is tragic for people like Nnamdi Kanu and his followers to describe Ojukwu as their inspirational figure, as their sponsors have brainwashed them to believe. The situations in South Sudan and Pakistan came to mind here. While it is possible for any Yoruba man or woman from any state in the Southwest to serve in any capacity in Lagos, it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, for an Igbo from Igbo state to work in another Igbo state. The case in point is what happened in Abia State when former Governor T.A. Orji sacked all civil servants from Imo, Anambra, Enugu, and Ebonyi. The same happened in Enugu State when a former governor sacked all the civil servants from Anambra State when Enugu was carved out of the old Anambra State. 2. That we reject the effort by these people to stereotype Ndi Igbo as perpetual victims of the Nigerian state and chronic campaigners who can never be satisfied. We don't understand why some Igbo should feel comfortable anchoring their just demands from the Nigerian system on self-pity through relentless cries of marginalization and neglect. Igbo are known for enterprise and industry and not for any syndicated appeal to self-pity, as the proponents of the present Biafra resurgence are making. When and where did marginalization of Igbo start? And if I may ask, when do we think it will end? 3. That we are yet to reconcile the present embarrassing pedestrian argument surrounding this new craze for Biafra with the well-acknowledged depth and staying power of Ndi Igbo on national issues. While Indigo are noted for deep introspection and reticence on issues, we dare say that the present agitations or agitators, perhaps in a haste to achieve their deadly political ends, are building on shifty hollow reasonings that repels rather than attract support. We see the resorts to slander, lies, abuse, blackmail, use of indecorous language, effusive use of inciting hate language to spark reactions and violence from other sections of Nigeria, and nothing more. Igbo are not noted for this. We state that Igbo are hardworking and friendly people, and not people ruled by extreme hate and negative passion, as the progenitors and sponsors of the present needless Biafran agitation present us to be. 4. It is beyond doubt that a bulk of Igbo investment are domiciled outside the so-called Biafra. It is certain that more Igbo live outside the so-called Biafra, and it is beyond doubt that these senseless agitations and their sponsors are exposing both the massive Igbo properties, wealth, and majority of Igbo people to danger by the present politically induced needless agitation. The Igbo conscience believes that Nigeria provides a big space for Igbos to thrive. When you have an Atlantic Ocean to swim in, you do not need a pond in Okigwe to do the same. 5. TIC notes with dismay that the present ruthless and uncoordinated agitation has renewed anti-Igbo sentiment among our brothers and sisters in the South and promises to rekindle an early rivalry that will negatively affect Igbo interests in the days to come. We note the angry rebuff and exhumation of already buried animosities against Igbo in the just effort of our brothers and neighbors to disown this charlatanism of Biafra. We state that this is unfortunate and dangerous to Igbo and their interests, as we reassure our neighbors and brothers that Igbo have no interest in acquiring the land or space. We want to assure our neighbors and friends that Igbo have no plan to forcefully conscript them into a fancy utopia, as the present agitators seek to do.
To hell with all of you where they say one Nigeria, one Nigeria. Don't you know the contract that British signed for one Nigeria have expired since 2014?
Every Hausa land is occupied either by a Fulani emir or a Fulani governor. Some of you don't want to reason. You don't ever learn that the main aim of Fulani is to conquer your land and enslave you. Look at Hausa people today. As I wrote yesterday, they are worse than a discarded tissue paper. They are worth nothing. Only their language is what is relevant in their lives. Everything else is lost. All of you are repeating the exact same mistakes that the Hausas made. That is why they are in trouble. And that is why they can never ever come out of it. They are all suffering from what I would an advanced version of the Stockholm Syndrome. Can you imagine that these people came into their land and took it over and they cannot do anything about it? Hausa is gone. It took Fulani very many years before they came out of their shell to say we are Fulani. Remember before, many years ago, they told we are Hausa Fulani. We are Hausa Fulani. Because that time, their subjugation of the Hausa race hasn't been completed. Now they have completed it. Have they not completed it? And what is happening right now? I ask you what is happening now. Fulani have now come out to tell you we are Fulani people.
You all have seen the whole thing that is going on in the country. In fact, the video, it is a very hitting video. Very, very. Coming down to the whole thing that happens. If you look at the issue surrounding the issue of repentant Boko Haram or no repentant Boko Haram, how can a country that claim that they have a sovereignty will be claiming to be welcoming back terrorists into the society and claiming that they are now repentant? It is a very big shame, and it is something that needs to worry everybody that called himself in Nigeria, anywhere you are, because reintegrating back terrorists into a country, then how do you think that country will survive? That cannot work in any country that is movable. That type of law or that type of idea can never work. But in Nigeria, it works. Anything can go in Nigeria and it will become a law, and it will stand that moment and start working. That is what is going on in the whole country. Then, if you go and look into this issue of representative, most of the people that used to represent Igbo, both in national and in international, most of them, they don't used to speak the thing the people need. They used to talk the side of the government, although I would say the government who sent them. So it is the Nigerian government, the Fulani Caliphate, the Sokoto Caliphate. So that is the people that used to send them to go and they debate for the Igbo, to talk for the Igbos. That is what used to happen every time. The man that speak in the UN, all his comment there is trying to paint everything Mazi Kano is standing for, is fighting for, as demonic. If you look very well in his speech, everything he said there is just that to claim and to turn it against Mazi Kano, claiming that he's coming to instigate fear, terror, and many things that they don't know what they are agitating for, what they are fighting for. And whenever something is happening like this, those people, they used to find a way to linger there or to pin, so that they will say, yes, haven't I told you that those people that is doing this thing, they are not serious. So they are coming to just talk and go. That is the main thing. Whenever anything happen, or whenever you are doing what you are doing, then you say you want to look inward, or you want to look out of the game or see what people will say. Then what they will tell you is that, yes, I said it. Those people, they are just coming for their own selfish interest, but they will not talk about what the Igbo people is facing in Nigeria, and the marginalization, and the injustice, and the way things is happening in the country that is not right. But they used to talk about how they are going to benefit from the government. Also, they are claiming that the people is fighting against. So that is what is there. Everything that is happening, every of them is all about benefit, benefit, benefit. That is it. In fact, a lot is happening in the country. A lot is happening. It's only a child who don't understand what is going on to tell that everything is going for well. Everybody knows that Nigeria is not working, and then things is not going well the way it's supposed to be, but they are trying to just to manage it, or they are trying to just to lie low, or to paint things to look as if it is working. That is the main reason why you see Tinubu paying $500 million to Washington to close anything concerning Nigeria, concerning the issue of all those banditry, genocide, and the Christian genocide that is happening in Nigeria. The way they are trying to close everything, the government. And if you ask them question, what is really happening in your country, they will tell you that everything is fine. But they know that nothing is fine. Everything is wrong in the country. In fact, a lot is going on. I would like your comment down below what you think about the whole thing happening. I would like your comments. Comment down below for you to see what you're feeling about the country. Like, subscribe, and make sure you share it for everyone to see things happening in Nigeria. So thank you for watching.